Hi Scorpio, this is your friendship reading. Keep in mind that this is a general reading and this will not resonate for every single Scorpio out there. Also, I do want to just say if this is your first time watching my video, hi, welcome, thanks for tuning in. If you like what I do or you are interested in what this channel is all about, please go down to the playlist section where it has my thoughts, and there's a video there that's just going to describe who I am kind of as a person, a little bit about what I want to do for this channel and what my end goal kind of is. So if you guys are interested, please watch that video. So let's get started here, Scorpio. If you can tell, I already went and pulled some cards for you guys to kind of get a feeling of generally what is happening with my Scorpios. But I'm not gonna lie here. There's a lot of energy and a lot of stuff happening. I think I'm dealing with a Scorpio who might have a little bit of a larger friend group. But it feels kind of interesting out of the respect of some. It almost, okay. So how I kind of wanted to put this. When I shuffled, some of the cards fell out. I didn't feel like I should take the cards. I put it back in the deck, but I noticed that the sea serpent was there, and I thought, well, whatever, if any of these cards are meant to come back, they'll come back. So I put them back in, and I started shuffling, and the sea serpent came back out again. So to me, this is very significant, especially when it has the ether sign as the symbol of the universe. It feels like this is kind of an important thing. What I am sensing here, Scorpio, is it almost feels like, Scorpio, you are maybe perhaps the sea serpent and a little bit of that hummingbird. Because it almost feels like it's really hard to explain. It seems like you're dealing with certain individuals who, because it's like these two are in kind of black and white, and the only difference is their eyes. Their eyes are, one's fire, one's water. And it seems like these people might have more of a black and white view, like the way that they see the world is kind of through black and white or one way or another, because if you can tell, it's almost like they only have two colors, right, in their eyes too. It's like black and white. These people kind of maybe look at things one way and the other person might look at things the other way. Seems like you're kind of the peacekeeper, Scorpio, between these two friends, the crocodile and the panther. Feels like the hawk. Whoever it is that you're dealing with who is considered the hawk, this person could probably be an individual who, this person is always, it's interesting because it almost feels like this is the type of friend who's a little bit flaky or a little bit, never paying attention. Like, I almost feel like this person kind of has like ADD almost. Like, this person has a tendency of playing on their phone a lot or fidget a lot. Like, this person has anxiety. And this person doesn't like to get involved between these two when they fight. But it almost feels like these two in the center, it doesn't really feel like these two are people besides some of your energy. Because when I see the frog, my first initial thought with this card is kind of like detoxing, healing, working through things. Because if you can tell, it looks like there's rain, and rain's purifying. Also, frogs are, oftentimes live in the swamps or live in dirtier waters, but they always come out of the water clean. And plus they have really good kidneys, so they can actually, they can cleanse themselves easier too while they're in murkier, dirtier waters. So I looked at it like that, and every time I see that frog card, I almost look at it like it's a way of healing. But it almost feels like, Scorpio, you have an intuitive knowing. It's almost like this is your third eye, because it almost looks like there's an eye in the center. And it almost feels like you kind of understand both perspectives. It's almost like you're playing a little bit of a Libra here. You might have some Libra or something in your chart. But it almost feels like you are sending people loving and healing light between these two. And this friend here, like I said, doesn't really like the conflict, gets anxious when it comes conflict. But it almost feels like, the interesting part is it seems like it's a dynamic where it almost feels like a parental thing. Like, because I know this is a friendship reading, but it almost feels like for some of my Scorpios, these two are like a parent in a way. It's like both of your parents could have fought and maybe you were the one keeping the peace, right? It almost feels like that, like you're having to keep the peace. And it's almost like this hawk, if you could tell, it's like this hawk slightly looking back, but this person's kind of looking away, like this person's leaving the situation because this person can't handle the drama or can't handle the arguments between this crocodile and this panther. And you're the one feeling like you have to because, like, that's been your role since childhood is what it feels like. Like, this is a deeper reading here, Scorpio. If this is already resonating so far, then cool. Maybe I'm tapping into you then. So I'm going to pull some tarot here, and we're going to get more into the bottom of what exactly this is my Scorpio is dealing with when it comes to friends. But it just seems like these two people just like butt heads a lot and they fight a lot. Because they almost seem like, it almost feels like the crocodile tries to purposely piss the panther off. Like this person might purposely try to like cause the conflict and the panther just goes off. But the crocodile is kind of egging it on, right? That's what it feels like. So here we have the 10 of Swords. We have the 2 of Coins, Pentacles, the 5 of Pentacles, the Justice, the Knight of Swords, the King of Coins, okay, the Queen of Swords, and then we have the Death card, and it came out like this, and it did feel like a block, like a blockage there with that Death card. Alright, so Scorpio, what I'm picking up already when it comes to the situation is, it's almost interesting because I feel like for some of my Scorpios, it almost just feels like, again, a childhood dynamic in your family, but now it's like in your friend group. But you don't, some of you understand that, but some of you don't, and that's why I think that sea serpent's there. It's almost like you're eventually going to gain that whole 180 perspective. You're going to go back to a circle, and you're going to be like, wow, I was just playing out like my childhood dynamics. Like you could have had a father or a mother figure that would always pick on the other one or always put them down, which would make the other one mad, and then maybe they would put you in the middle, or maybe you felt like you had to get in the middle to defuse it because, you know, maybe you were trying to protect another sibling or something like that. Because it feels like this hawk is a very passive person. It almost feels like this hawk kind of observes it, though. They're aware of it, but this person just wants to stay out of it. And if you try to go to this person for advice, like, oh, how can I help so-and-so with this, help him stop fighting, this hawk might not really give you much leadway or much to talk about. They might say, I don't know, I don't really want to talk about it. It's not my business. Like, this hawk kind of has a tendency of doing that. Or this person will go in and out. Like, the hawk will come in, help a little bit, but then leave. Come in and then defuse it a little and then leave. Like, this person might do that. Like, they're kind of flighty. They go back and forth. But it's almost like the hummingbird is you. The frog is you trying to help heal the situation. Which in return is what's really happening is you're trying to heal yourself through other people. And it's between both of these two people. And that's what you're learning through this process. It feels like my Scorpios are really learning something new here. And you're gaining a higher perspective. And if you're not dealing with a friend who is there helping you, say you just have 2 friends that just consistently fight, but you don't really have anybody else, I'm also sensing that this hawk is like a higher perspective of viewing it too. Because it almost feels like you are starting to gain awareness of your childhood traumas. So I'm just going to pull some clarifiers here because it feels like what's happening for a lot of my Scorpios is you're trying to find it to where it's equal to both both parties. Wow. Perhaps they are in a relationship and maybe they're both your friends. Maybe they could be dating, something like that. Not all of you, but you're trying to find it to where it can balance out to both people. Like, you want to be fair and just here, Scorpio, and you're juggling back and forth both person's perspective. But the problem is you don't want to leave one person out in the cold, or you don't want to leave yourself out in the cold. It's almost like you're afraid of abandoning yourself. Like, you're afraid of abandoning yourself, which you already have by abandoning situations. So, like, perhaps maybe your parents would always try and pin you against one another, and you would have to learn to abandon your own wants, your own needs, in order to try and make both of your parents happy, right? You might have really put yourself down, or you might have really sacrificed a lot of your own self, your own needs, your own who you truly are, which is already an injustice, to try and satisfy and help others. And I feel like you're always trying to help another person, but because you don't help yourself, Scorpio, you're not helping anyone really in return. And I think that that's what you're coming down to, because it's almost like you don't want this friendship to end, and you don't want them to end their friendship or their relationship, because it's almost like your parents ending in a way. You know what I mean? It's like a subconscious, like there's a childhood need there that you're projecting with other people. But it just really feels like you are just trying to, it's almost like you're using them as a way of trying to heal childhood wounds. Because I'm sensing for some of my Scorpios, you could have dealt with where your parents got a divorce and you felt alone and abandoned by that. And perhaps this is a couple, like a friend, like maybe they're both your friends, but maybe they're dating, or maybe they're just friends. And the way that they perceive and the way that they do things, it really feels almost like it just feels like that parental dynamic that you grew up with, right? That's just kind of what it feels like. But it's like these people are projecting onto you all of their anger, all of their frustration, Scorpio, and you're taking it in like you did when you were a child. That's just what I keep getting. I just keep getting, and that's what the sea serpent is like, again, just going back into that circle of realizing what this is teaching you. Because what I'm sensing for some of you guys is, like I said, you're trying to dissolve your pain by helping others heal, by reuniting friends, lovers, something like that. But what's happening is, because you're trying to do it externally to gain some kind of fulfillment internally, you're not really gaining anything. Because all you're doing is you're just overwhelmed. You're trying to strategize a way to where both people win, to where you could win, right? Because if both people are in agreement, then that means you're safe, Scorpio. That's what it feels like. You're safe. But it's like you have this wisdom, you have this inner knowing deep down inside that you need to change, that you need to grow, that you can't like allow other people to have such control over you. And that's really what it feels like. It feels like this, whoever you're dealing with here, Scorpio, it's like their dynamic is almost like playing out a childhood wound of yours. And you're wanting to get noticed. You're wanting to get people to see you because you feel stuck. You feel like you can't move past it in a way. Like there's something there. I'm sensing for, again, some of you guys, it's like your parents got a divorce and they were putting you in the middle between their divorce, right? It feels like that. And again, that's not going to resonate for every single Scorpio, but it's something like that. It's like a sense of abandonment. You abandoned yourself in order to give other people love or to ease their suffering. But really, in reality, Scorpio, it's just causing you suffering, and it's causing you resentment towards those you love, right? Because I'm sensing for some of you, you can get very creative and domineering and really good at trying to like show different perspectives and viewpoints. It's like you're really good at like talking to the crocodile and be like, yeah, I know the panther's being like this, but look at it from their perspective, and then you will talk about their perspective. And the crocodile will say, well, I can understand some of it, but then what about this and that though? And then you would take it straight to the panther and be like, well, the crocodile understands part of your perspective, but you have to look at it from their perspective. You see what I mean? Like, you're kind of that person that does that. And because of that, you're trying to give comfort to others, and you're trying to help others, because the problem of it is deep down, you never got that comfort. You were the one that had to be the adult for your parents, and your parents weren't adulting. They weren't taking care of you. So it's like you have to take care of other people, because you're it's almost like deep down in hopes that they will take care of you. But it feels like you never get that praise, you never get that love, you never get that admiration. And that's a core wound that you have to learn to do that for yourself. Because it almost feels like that's just like you have the bestest intentions, Scorpio, but it's coming off as a sense of like you're afraid of failure. You're afraid of, what if I can't get these people to make up? What if I can't get these people to be kind and loving to one another? It's like you really feel like you have to have that, because deep down for some of you guys, like, again, that's why I was sensing like perhaps a divorce, because it feels like the two parents could have pinned you together, like, against one another, right? But it almost feels like you didn't really want that to end. You didn't want your parents to split up, right? And because of that, you don't want your friends to do that, or you don't want their love to do that, like they're split up, right? So you feel lost if this ends, and you felt lost when they ended it. So it's almost like for you, Scorpio, you're having to learn to work through your own insecurities, because like the problem of it is when a parent gives you a wound there, like they cut you in some way, whether it's intentional or not, they can't heal that for you. They can't come back. Yeah, they can come back and say, I'm sorry, and acknowledge the pain that they've caused you, but like you're the only one that can truly heal it, right? Even if they potentially helped cause that wound, they can potentially help heal it, but they can't heal it entirely for you. So you're having to learn to take responsibility and heal it for yourself. But it's almost like you just neglect yourself, Scorpio. You put others above you all the time. So that's what I was... Okay, so we have main male here, and we have turmoil and labor. So I was sensing that perhaps the crocodile was more of a masculine-like energy. But it's like you are in turmoil. You do put a lot of work and energy into this to keep it together. But for what, Scorpio? Is it really good for both parties if they're consistently fighting or consistently can't see one another's points of view? If they're never on the right page, that might be good then for them to separate. Sometimes we have to separate from those we care about in order to eventually gain newer perspectives. These people need to learn away from one another. It almost feels like these two just never... It's like they'll make up and then they'll get back into a fight. Make up, get back into a fight. It's like these two are in a cycle that's very toxic, and I think that these two do need to separate. But you're trying to hold it together, which is causing you a lot of turmoil and causing them a lot of turmoil. So, and for some of them, it's like they want to get back together. It's not like you're just the one initiating it. But I'm just sensing that this is kind of a toxic situation for both parties, and you are in the middle of it. So of course your life doesn't have peace. Of course you're not feeling satisfied. You're not feeling loved anyway. So there's that part of you that has to take responsibility for, you know what, they're both grown adults. They can take care of their own issues. I don't need to be in the middle. They need to figure it out. And you step away from that, and you look away from that. You allow that to be what it is, and work on yourself, because I'm feeling for a lot of my Scorpios, you guys need to start taking care of yourself. You need to start, because I feel like you guys have inner conflicts within yourself, and it's almost like that black and white thinking as well. So you're having to learn to step aside and look at what is contradicting one another, like what your belief is. So if you have a belief that cheating is bad, but yet you're doing it, right? That's a contradictory belief. If you believe eating, like killing animals is bad, but you say you eat meat, right? That's a contradictory belief. So it's like you're doing one thing but believing another. So it's like your actions and your beliefs are not aligned. I'm sensing that for some of my Scorpios, and that's what's causing a lot of turmoil as well inside your mind, because it's like, again, that black and white thinking. Not everything is in black and white, everything is in gray. Different tones, different shades, different colors, shapes, sizes. I mean, you name it. There's different ways of looking at things. And I'm sensing that these two have a lot of black and white thinking, and so do you. And that's what you're having to learn to move past there, Scorpio. So that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonates, and if so, I hope that this helped you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys have a great, wonderful day. Thank you. Bye.